Because one thing I've been thinking about is I'm really not the doer of anything here. Everything is just happening. Om Namah Shivaya. Good evening, welcome back to inthekhud. This is 31st August 2023, 9:05 p.m. and the framing is just a little off. I've been trying to fix it for a while now. The thing is, because of the setup, is the way it's been evolving, things are going farther away from me. So the camera right now is so far away from me. If I want to make any changes to the frame, it's kind of difficult. But okay, yeah, this works. So 9:15 again, and it's been a trend of late that I haven't been able to go to the gym, and the entire schedule, the way it was settled, like work the entire day and then go to the gym after that, has been completely ruined. It's been like a couple of weeks now I haven't gone to the gym. I haven't stepped out for that matter. Yesterday I couldn't record. I wanted to record, but because of Raksha Bandhan I had to go to my sister's house. Even today it was almost like, yeah, let's just skip this because there's other important things to figure out, how the mind is. So, but no, I have to document this video because at this point in time with my career, 3D career, as a 3D generalist, if you will, I am being stretched. And let me put that into context. I'm being stretched as in the flow state where your skill set exactly matches with your challenge. I mean, at some points you feel things are getting difficult, but for the most part you are on your toes. You are in the flow state. You don't know about the time or space where you are, and you're just so focused and so involved in making or doing whatever you're doing. That is a constant, and it's been constant for a while now. Like this past 1 month, 3 big 3D stuff that I've done, the CG clothes that I spent like a couple of weeks making from scratch. Had no idea how to do CG clothes, figured that out in Marvelous, brought it into Blender, rendered it out. That is something that I have to give out tomorrow with a change. The second being the Meenakshi building fourth render, which will go up as like things that I've done in a series for that, which is something I'm going to show today, that I rendered yesterday and I sent out today, and it went with like just no feedback, just straight up approval. The third thing being the beach scene that I've been working on today. So I'm in completely stressed, and it's extremely important to document this because if I look back at life, this is the only thing that I've asked for to God, is like put me in this kind of a situation, like a dream situation for me to be in. So I'm documenting it, and let's start. I'm gonna start with the building video. Let me show you the render first, and I'm gonna think of, there are a few things that I have learned here that are worth documenting. Okay, there you go. This entire city situation is done through a free Blender add-on. I think it's called Buildify, and I have not documented exactly how that add-on works, but it's very, very intuitive. It uses geometry nodes, and I'll see if I can show some bit of that. Now, as you zoom in, the major thing that we had to figure out here is the day to night transition, and we've done the day to night transition before, but it hasn't been good enough. Even here, the thing I was saying particularly I'm not a fan of is at this point in time, you see, everything is a little blown out because of the way the light is falling at that point in time. So that is something I wasn't a fan of, and I wanted to also have an evening kind of sky behind, because I'm currently blending from the morning sky, and then there's an orange color I put inside After Effects while compositing. A lot of things I've done, by the way, in compositing here to fake that sunset thing, and then the starry night is good. And towards the end, then the building lights up. That is something we had done in, I think, render number 2, where we're discussing solar panels. So I made a driver, and that driver turns on all these lights in the building plus this logo emission. But I attached the emission for all these windows here. But the beauty of Blender is because you have instances, and all of these are just using one material. So just add a driver situation to that material, and voila, the entire city is lit up. Then I also added these street lamps here, and using geometry nodes, and then I added an area lamp to each of these instances so that it looks like a night scene. And there was one detail I was thinking about, is these vehicles should also have a headlight, but then I thought that's probably not noticeable, so because there was way too much time that was going into it. So I don't know where to start. Let me see if I can open the blend file and show something that that was worth documenting here. So I'm gonna stay in the rendered view because it's an established fact that with such a heavy like geometry nodes based scene, rendered viewport is much easier to navigate as compared to solid. Right now I've just opened this file, so it's doing that good, but with rendered it's a lot easier to move around. Okay, so I'm going to go to the start of this timeline. I'll make sure you can see my entire Blender screen here. The first thing obviously I want to document is how the day to night situation is happening. So let me come to the film and remove transparent, and the entire thing is driven just with a sky texture, the sun position add-on. So you go into, it's a built-in add-on for Blender, so you go into preferences and you search for sun position. Okay, so you enable this add-on. What this does is, if you have a sky texture sun here, inside your world properties you will get this new thing here called sun position, and you can come in here and change the time, and accordingly this will change, right? So like 0 is completely dark, let's say 12 midnight, and then this is early morning 6 o'clock, and then we're going. So this is noon, and by this time we've come to evening, and then we go back again to night. So you even see that the sun is setting there at 6:30, and then it finishes. The reason I did not use this add-on is because with the time value I keyframed the time value, but you see what happens is this was happening every single time, is that this value was not refreshing. Now it is refreshing. Maybe it was a Blender bug where from here to here this value would stay static. So what I did is I used the values. So basically what this add-on is doing is it is keyframing the sun elevation and sun rotation to go from let me disable this add-on because I don't want it to like interfere with what I had done. So what is actually happening is sun elevation and sun rotation going from 76.1 degree or 73.2 degree to, because I started at 11 a.m. I did not start at like 0. So we basically did half the day. It wasn't that, not like a full 24-hour cycle, 12-hour cycle. So from here 76 or 73 to you want to go to -5 and 297. Again, these are tentative values. There's probably some math behind it. I'm not trying to go into that right now. So this is how you get your day, like 11 a.m. to night kind of transition happening. Second important thing I wanted to discuss here is, you see the backgrounds behind, they are not actually any HDRIs. What I've done is I've simply added image textures, and this is a very useful trick inside of Blender. Is you can come in here and if you see my sky collection, let me unhide this. The sky is just an image. What do we use this wireframe? So it's just an image that I've got from unsplash.com, and I've put that image here. And if you were to look at, see, now I've gone into solid view and it's kind of throwing up. So for the shader of this object, it is basically that image, whatever you got, that image plugged into your base color, and the same color plugged into emission. That's how you get this kind of thing. If it's not plugged into emission, it will look very fake. It's like you've just pasted that image there, but you want to put that color into emission, so when it gives out light, it feels like it's part of the scene a little more. There is also this thing here that you come into viewport display and enable what I was telling about is, there is this inside your viewport display, there is this thing called shadow. Okay, if you were to enable this shadow, what it does is it allows this image or this plane to be as if it's an actual thing. And so if you have a light, it will cast a huge kind of shadow on your scene, and I don't want that, so I turned that off, but it could be useful at some point. And towards the end there is a night sky, which is again another image that I've taken from I think Unsplash only. But what I've done differently here is, you see there is another sun lamp here, and I've named it moon, but it's actually a sun lamp only, and it is rotated in such a way that it is facing towards this thing here. So if I was to go into my rendered view or my camera view and turn the moon off, you see that just by turning that sunlight off, which is pointing directly upwards, the entire night sky behind is completely dark and you cannot see the sun, saw the stars and everything. But I kept that light here, just to get that starry kind of background. Okay, and I said for the geometry nodes structure I added a, so there is this one lamp that I took from Sketchfab. By the way, Sketchfab is so brilliant. I I used to feel everything on Sketchfab is paid, but no, there are a ton of very good things that you can get on Sketchfab for absolutely free. So it's really worth checking out every time you're working on a project of this sort. Especially being a generalist, 3D generalist, you don't want to like sit and do everything from by your hand. It's a good thing like if you enjoy modeling and everything, but I'd much rather get things done than like sit and make a perfect lamp out of a cube or a plane, whatever. So the geometry node structure here is this one, and it's actually pretty straightforward. I've used this exact, I just duplicated this thing here. It's a curve, and that curve we've done curve, mesh to curve, resample curve, then instance on points. Okay, we've added a switch because I want to be able to switch these into proxy. So let me select this one and switch proxy. So what happens is those become this I had to add for this part, the divider part, because you see these are actually very high poly leaves and stuff, which you need to have a proxy at some point, as it becomes very difficult for Blender to handle. But for this we don't really need anything. Okay, then I've also to the same resample curve done again instance, and here I've added one area light, again the one lamp, to that you added area lamp, and because it's an instance it will go everywhere. And the thing is, it was getting a bit of a problem, like I transformed it and then I joined it to mirror it to this side of the road, so I had to like play with the values a little bit, just fiddle it around to get what I really wanted. And then again with set position for each I had to adjust it manually, but that's fine. I don't want everything in my systems to be completely procedural to the point that everything is mathematically done. Whatever gets the job done at some point, just use a transform geometry node or set position node and move it around however it has to be. So that's the kind of the mindset has been. We've already hit 14 minutes. I want to jump into After Effects and show the little bit of different thing that I did here for this video's compositing. So the biggest thing that you will see is I have used these PNGs, which are fog PNGs. So this here, yeah, you see these images, these are actually fogs. So if I was to shut this, you see that it looks like this, but I added those fogs and it feels like there was actually volumetric. These are just fog PNGs with actually a black background. You come in and you don't have to worry about removing that black background. Just come in here and make the blend mode to screen, and that will do for you. Okay, so that was that. I added those PNGs and then I keyframed them out. Then again I said this evening thing, there was no evening stuff, so I just added a solid with like orange and send its blend mode to color. And the one thing that I really love about After Effects is modes. Like you can just change blending modes and track mats, and parenting is just, there's a reason why everyone loves, people who do compositing in After Effects, they love it so much, because it just makes things so much easier when it comes. Of course I haven't used Nuke or any other compositing software. Blender's compositor is a bit like complicated. I've tried it a few times. No, I'd much rather do things inside After Effects. It's a lot easier to do. And yeah, I think I ended up removing this night sky, which I added inside Blender completely, and I added the night sky, that same image over here again, and then I keyframed it manually, because I think I was, yeah, it was feeling like if I was to solo this, you see how this is looking. I think it was looking like rain particles for some reason. I don't know what happened to that thing. So it's all right if right out of Blender your render is not looking the way you wanted to. You can always fix things inside After Effects. After Effects is a trusty guide. So with that said, I think I'm gonna stop documenting here. The beach thing again, I don't think I've particularly learned anything today. Yeah, for the ocean I did learn some things, but this video will become very long. Cool. So the entire beach scene I'll try doing tomorrow, and there's also the clothing changes. Clothing anyways we're not doing, so the beach scene I'm going to document tomorrow. For this session this is good. And yeah, Life is pretty good. It's a bit stressful also because I've just recovered from a sick situation. So I've instead of going from like first gear to second gear, I've gone to like the fifth gear directly with the work. And again, I started off this session with saying that I am extremely fortunate, extremely grateful for this, because this is what I've always wanted to have, and now I'm having it. So there's really no reason to complain. It's just enjoying. And this is one thing I was on a spiritual note. If I want to end this session, there's one thing I've been thinking about is I'm really not the doer of anything here. Everything is just happening. And when you try to put it into context, the fundamental things about the person is breathing, the heart beating, the brain working, respiration, all these things. I'm not doing any of that. All I think I am doing is my own mind's projections, my own mind's imaginations. And that's not true. So from a very ultimate perspective, everything is being done, life is doing life, and I am just watching life unfold. So there's really no need to be like I am doing this, or because I'm really not doing it. And even if you look back at your life and all the things that have happened, and if you give it to your mind, yes, your mind will come up with saying that yeah, you did it, you worked so hard for that exam, and you worked so hard for learning 3D and Blender and After Effects, and you spent so much time watching tutorials. The mind will come up with those list of things because that's what the mind does. But if you don't give it to the mind, and if you try to intuitively answer this question, am I really doing anything, or have I really done anything so far? The answer will be a no, because I don't know. There's no logical explanation to that, because then the mind is involved. Just put the mind aside and intuitively try feeling. Am I doing anything, or is everything just happening? On that note, thanks so much for being in the code. I will catch you tomorrow. Peace.